Okay, what's going on, guys? Man here. Time for my Raw review. I know I haven't done one of these in a couple of weeks. I think I missed the past week or maybe two of them because I was on the trip, of course. But now we're gonna bring it back, and of course, first of all, got my T-shirt on, a brand new T-shirt, Baron Corbin T-shirt. If you haven't seen the video already, it's the one that I uploaded yesterday. T-shirt unboxing, Baron Corbin, Becky Lynch shirts. Pretty cool. But I'm gonna make this review fairly quick because my stomach is killing me. So without further ado, let's start this. Shane McMahon kicked off the show. He came out and declared that he's going to be running Raw again for a second week in a row. And they didn't really give a reason, but basically what they said is that the ratings were up, according to whoever, so apparently that allowed him to keep running the show. I just want to know what the Authority is doing and what they think of this, because it's kind of weird. We haven't seen the Authority since Mania, and I just find that a little weird, and the storyline is just all fucked up, in my opinion. Like, Shane shouldn't be running Raw right now because he lost to The Undertaker, but they still wanted to have him win it, but they didn't want The Undertaker to lose to Shane McMahon, but whatever. They shouldn't have set up the match in the first place then. But Shane ends up announcing a big match after Kevin Owens interrupts him and says that Kevin Owens is getting screwed out of the title picture here because he deserves the WWE Championship. He was not pinned last week on Raw, therefore he feels as though he deserves to be in the match. Which, who got pinned again? It was, who was the fourth person? Was it Jericho that got pinned? I think it was Jericho. I don't know, but someone got pinned. It wasn't Kevin Owens. And Kevin Owens kept complaining. He said, well, you can have your shot at the IC title. You just got to beat Cesaro, and that's up next. So we get Cesaro versus Kevin Owens. I already knew Cesaro won before this because when I turned it on the DVR thing or whatever to go to DVR, it was already playing live, and of course I seen Cesaro backstage talking to The Miz, so I kind of knew that Cesaro won already. But it was still a great match. Very, very good match. I'm not going to go through what all happened. Let's just say Cesaro ended up winning by countering the pop-up powerbomb, rolling through into the neutralizer. So, yeah, I thought it was a good ending. Kevin Owens attacked the arm of Cesaro throughout the majority of the match, which led up to a big spot where Cesaro went for the swing and his shoulder gave out on him, which was cool. But other than that, Cesaro picked up the win. Great job. I just want to know what the fuck Zack Ryder does and get an opportunity here. I think it's ridiculous that they had to have the fucking Miz do it anyways, because obviously the Miz is going to lose to Cesaro. I mean, it'd be stupid if they kept the title on the Miz and they didn't put it on Cesaro. I just want to know why the fuck Maurice is back. Like, is this feud going to continue with Miz and Ryder after Miz loses the title to Cesaro? Or, like, what the fuck are they doing here? It's just retarded to me. But whatever. If Maurice costs Cesaro the match, that's all I'm going to say. If Maurice costs Cesaro the fucking match, I'm going to be so fucking pissed. No one cares about the fucking Miz. Why the hell does he have the fucking title? I don't know. Of course, they have to take it off Zack Ryder the night afterwards, just so they can give it to Miz so he can lose it a month later anyways. Why didn't you just keep it on Ryder, you dumb fucks? But whatever. Whenever that, we get a New Day segment where they come out there and they announce that we're going to have a big tag team tournament to decide the #1 contenders for the tag titles, and it's sponsored by Bootios. They make sure you ain't booty. So this tournament's sponsored by Bootios, and I believe we had, how many tag teams? Probably like 16 or something in this. And all the first round matches are pretty much squash matches. You fucking know who's going to win. Like, the matches are the Usos versus Social Outcasts, I believe, which was Axel and Heath Slater. And obviously, you know, the Usos were going to win that, which they did later. Then you had the match that happened right then, which was the Lucha Dragons versus the Dudley Boys. And I'm not sure if that was a real injury on Kalisto, or it's probably storyline because of what happened after the match, I'm guessing. But Kalisto got taken out during the match, but it's Lucha Dragons versus Dudleys. Then you've got Enzo versus Enzo and Big Cass versus the Ascension, I believe, which is going to be on SmackDown, which obviously Enzo and Big Cass will win that one. Then you got the Vaudevillains versus Golden Truth, which is the only one that's even close, and I would definitely say the Vaudevillains win. If Golden Truth defeats the Vaudevillains, they're basically turning the Vaudevillains into jobbers, which I'm going to be so fucking pissed if they lose to Golden Truth. But whatever, it's ridiculous. This match, overall, like both these tag team matches tonight, what happened afterwards is the important thing. It's not fucking what the actually happened in the fucking match. Dudley Boys end up defeating Sin Cara because Kalisto gets injured because he takes a spill outside and quote-unquote injured, I'm assuming. But hopefully that makes it to where he has to drop the United States title and they can give it to Zack Ryder, right? I mean, no, I think what they'll do is they'll give it to this guy right here, Baron Corbin. I think Baron Corbin will end up getting the U.S. title here soon. Or maybe Apollo. Maybe Dolph, I don't know. One of them, hopefully, if they do it right. And not the Ryback. We haven't seen the Ryback since Mania. Let's keep it that way. Dudley's end up picking the win though over Sin Cara in basically a handicap match with the 3D, which I'm kind of thinking maybe they're going to do a storyline with Sin Cara versus Kalisto after this match, which is going to be god-awful. But, anyways, after the match, first off, Devon goes for the pin on him, and Bubba Ray was the legal man, so they messed up on the pinfall once again, which was hilarious. But, nonetheless, what happens afterwards is the interesting part. The Dudleys are celebrating in the ring, and then all of a sudden you hear Enzo and Big Cass's music. Enzo and Big Cass come out. Enzo starts talking all this shit. He does his intro that he does, his long-ass intro. Oh, god damn. It got me thinking of me in the hiccups. Told you it's that fucking cake that I ate. So... But anyways, Enzo, that's kind of what Enzo sounded like after Bo raised up that one thing. He's kind of stuttering back. He's like, Devin? It's Devon. No, Bubba Ray cuts him off on his intro, and he says, he tells him to shut up, and he needs to shut his mouth, and then he asks him who he is, and all this shit, and that the Dudley Boys paved the way for the tag team this year, and Enzo and Big Cass wouldn't even exist if it wasn't for the Dudley Boys, and then Enzo decides to pull off the stupid remark like, exist, I'm pretty sure I exist because, what did he say? Something like my mom and dad got a little freaky one night. I don't. And then the crowd just starts laughing. That wasn't the best promo I've ever heard from Enzo, but it was funny, so it worked. And then Big Cass responds with, so you guys have paved the way, well, you guys need to step off the road and step aside because we're plowing through with jackhammers, and you guys better put your little vests on and your hard hat and get back to fixing the road because we're putting holes in it or something like that, and there's only one word to describe you, and I'm gonna spell it out for ya. S-A-W-F-T. Soft. Okay, yeah, you get the point. Then we get a Roman Reigns segment, which I normally wasn't even going to talk about this, but it is interrupted by the League of Nations, and yeah, I know exactly. The whole point of this is the Wyatt family ends up coming out and attacking the League, and then they go to attack Roman, but then Shane McMahon comes out, cuts them off, and says that he's going to have Bray and Roman team up together in the main event tonight against the League, which I think is completely ridiculous because the main event should have been what was announced at the start of the show, which I forgot to mention, Sami Zayn one-on-one with AJ Styles, and the winner of that match, if Sami Zayn won, he got thrown into the title match, and it was going to be a triple threat, which we obviously know AJ is going to beat him, because Sami Zayn's going to be feuding with Kevin Owens. That's going to be the best feud on the card, so they couldn't skip that. But overall, that was just hyping up that, which turned out to be a pretty decent match, and the Bray's over in my mind now. He's over for me. But the next match after that, we had Natalya versus Charlotte, and it was for the women's championship, which I'm going to say this, thank God that wasn't a pay-per-view match. They always have great matches, but I didn't want to see a whole rivalry between the two. And I don't think it's going to happen because Charlotte ends up defeating Natalya in the most screwiest ending I've ever freaking seen. Like, it was worse than the Dean Ambrose Seth Rollins fumble bullshit with the title, in my opinion. It was just ridiculous. This was a really great match, like I said. My favorite part of the match was probably when Charlotte locked in the sharpshooter on Natalya. That was great. You should have tapped out, girl. And then she just rolls her over and locks her in, or you should have tapped out, sister. And then she just locks her in the sharpshooter. I thought that was great. But it ends up coming down to where Natalya puts Charlotte in the sharpshooter, and she's about ready to make her tap. Then Ric Flair pulls out the referee. And when he does this, Charlotte is tapping in the ring. The ref looks into the ring, and then after that rings the bell. So I thought Natalya had won because I thought, he's seen her tap, so he won. And they've never DQ'd anyone for pulling out the ref out of the ring before. You have to hit the ref. Like, they've pulled the ref out or blocked his hand millions of times, and just now they decide to because that's how the story works. That you can't change the freaking rules of a match throughout. Apparently, since Ric Flair pulled out the ref, it was a disqualification, which is completely ridiculous, and it made no sense. But Charlotte kept the title, so which, like I said, I hate how she's defending the belt. I think it's ridiculous. Even though she is a heel, it's still fucking ridiculous in my opinion. She should at least once defend the title without having Flair completely distract, and he's the reason that she's winning every single time. Is kind of ridiculous. But if she's gonna do cheap shit like poke him in the eyes or some shit herself, it's really annoying with Rick out there. But anyway, Charlotte picks up the victory. I didn't complain. It was a great match. Like there was a bunch of great matches tonight. Speaking of the worst match of the card, though, we get the Usos versus the Social Outcasts. I don't even give a fuck. I skipped this. I think they were doing the bow train, and then one of the Usos rolled them up. Like I said, once again, that wasn't the point. What happened afterwards was the point. We finally get the debut of the Bullet Club in the WWE. Doc Gallows, or I believe now they're calling him Luke Gallows, like his old WWE name. So it's going to be Luke Gallows and Machine Gun Carl Anderson. Yes, they referred to him as Carl Anderson. They have arrived on the scene, and of course they came in there, attacked the Usos, took the Usos out. It looked like they hit them with their finisher, which they call the Magic Killer. Which is that I don't know what you call it. It's like the he lifts him up into a suplex position, then drops his opponent's feet on his teammate's shoulders, and they kind of just like swing to the side with it. It's kind of like a swinging neck breaker combo type maneuver. I don't know. They did it in New Japan all the time, but they call it the Magic Killer here. And of course, a few things that add in this, no theme music yet, so I don't know if they're going to come out to the Bullet Club theme or a remix to it. Probably not. I was hoping it'd be like, bulletproof, full real. I was hoping it'd be like some remix like that. But I can almost guarantee you they're going to be called Bulletproof, simply because of the fact that they did the gun taunt. So obviously they aren't going to be Ballet Club, because if they would, I figured if they would have just been in the Ballet Club, they just would have done the two sweets, but they did the gun taunt, which makes me think Bulletproof, since they can't use Bullet Club. So they probably are going to be known as Bulletproof, and I'm kind of thinking the Bulletproof is going to be Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows, but it's going to be inside the Balor Club. Like the Bulletproof and Finn Balor is going to make the Balor Club. That's what I'm thinking, which the Balor Club won't show up till Payback, I think, because Finn Balor's supposed to be a Payback from what I've heard. But so yeah, it's very interesting. Bullet Club arrives, and it looks as though they took out, yes, they took out the Usos from the way it looks. I'm kind of thinking they're going to take the Usos spot in this tag team tournament. Hopefully. I'm kind of thinking there's going to lead to the Bulletproof versus the New Day, and I think Bulletproof's going to take the titles from them, to be honest. Either that, or maybe the Usos stay in it, or maybe the Usos get taken out, Vaudevillains get a free pass or something, and then it ends up leading to Enzo and Cass versus the New Day first, and then of course New Day defeats Enzo and Cass, and then they move on to Bulletproof. I think that could happen too. Give Enzo and Cass a shot or an opportunity, but I don't know. It might not happen. Who knows? Then after that, we get Maurice and The Miz backstage, which is the only reason I'm commenting on this. I haven't done any other backstage comments, any of the other shit that's happened earlier. But this was funny. The guy brings him a giant bowl of M&Ms, and Maurice starts complaining because she requested no blue M&Ms, and then said that The Miz only drinks water shipped from Europe. No, the domestic shit. And then she asks the guy if The Miz looks like a farmer. Like I drink that domestic shit. And then all of a sudden we get Cesaro showing up back there. And then he brings up the comment, what a miserable performance. I don't know, it got me to laugh. It was kind of stupid, but it was pretty funny. And of course Cesaro's just wearing his stupid suit and his glasses, which like I said, my two favorite gimmicks are the crazy heel and the suit gimmick. I don't care if you're a heel or a face, the suit's always awesome. The way Cesaro just comes out in the suit all dressed up and then he just rips it off into his ring gear, I think it's awesome. It's hilarious. The heel suit gimmick always works because it gets the crowd to boo like crazy. So I think the suit gimmick's great. So I think it's hilarious that he just walks around in a suit, and then when it's time for his match, he just comes down to the entrance in his suit and just rips it off. He's got his ring gear on under his suit. But they end up just hyping the match. Wasn't nothing real big there, but I just thought it was funny that I had to add in there. And then we get AJ Styles versus Sami Zayn. Like I said, not going to talk too much about the match. I was disappointed with the way it ended. It ended with AJ Styles' phenomenal forearm, which it looks like he's using that as a finisher now, which is awful. Sami Zayn escaped the calf crusher, which was kind of cool. Sami Zayn hit this ridiculous blue thunder bomb like rebound when AJ bounced off the ropes, which is amazing. AJ pulled off the pump handle gut buster, which we haven't seen since his early TNA days, which was cool. Or at least I haven't seen it since then. I didn't watch too much New Japan stuff though. But AJ ends up winning by countering the haluva kick and then jumping over the apron and then hit the phenomenal forearm. So yay, AJ's using the forearm. They're making me not like AJ as much when he freaking ends matches with that. That's never been a fucking finisher. It's retarded. Fucking stupid ass WWE fans. Creative. But whatever. Then we get the highlight reel, which ends up Chris Jericho announces himself as the special guest, and like he's talking to himself through the people, and it's hilarious, but then he's cut off by Dean Ambrose, of course, like I said on my SmackDown review. It's obviously going to be Ambrose and Jericho at Payback. It was supposed to be at Mania until they decided to keep the AJ Styles feud going. So, of course, that's set up all the way back since Survivor Series when Jericho and Dean had that little confrontation back then. But, it was teased back then, I should say. But, this was pretty funny. Dean Ambrose comes out there with a sign and a potted plant. Jericho asks him what he's doing. Dean gives him this paper out of his pocket. Says that Shane McMahon's changed up the memo or whatever. And then Jericho reads it and he's like, this is a California state speeding ticket. And Dean's like, oh, whoops, wrong one, it's been a rough day. And then he pulls out the other pocket, and it's got a big-ass hole in the middle of the paper. Random. And then Jericho looks at it, and he reads it. And apparently it's signed by Shane McMahon that the highlight reel has been canceled, and Dean Ambrose is taking over with the Ambrose Asylum. And he puts up the picture, he tapes it over the Geritron. Then sets up his plan on the stool and just starts talking to Jericho and asks him about a scarf. Jericho says that his scarf is $750 and that Dean Ambrose is a moron, and then slaps the mic out of Ambrose's hands. The review didn't last long. Ambrose hits him with the dirty deeds and then walks off. So there was that. Then we get another squash match with Apollo Crews hyping him up. It was decent. Apollo Crews did his shit. That's pretty much it. They still haven't came up with a name for that power bomb, which I'm thinking they could probably just call it cruise control or something simple like that. But it wouldn't really make much sense because cruise is kind of, I don't know. They can call it cruise control. Who cares? People buy it. And then we get the main event, which is Reigns and Wyatt versus Sheamus and Del Rio. Of course, this match wasn't very interesting, but I thought it was cool how Bray Wyatt got the hot tag at the end. Dean Ambrose ended up tagging Bray in, and Bray got the little flurry at the end, which I thought was very interesting. And it definitely made me realize how good of a wrestler Bray Wyatt still is, even though he's getting buried. He's gotten buried over like the past year and a half. He still is a good wrestler. And the crowd was over his shit for like they were flipping out for Bray. Like they booed the shit out of Roman, but when he got the tag to Bray, man, they started flipping out, which I did too. I really like Bray, and just what they were doing with him made me not care anymore because they were burying him. But tonight they did a great job with him. Rusev ends up trying to distract Bray at the end when Bray completely wrecks the whole league, which was amazing. His comeback stage was very interesting. It dealt with a lot of running and punching. He just like ran and ducked. Ducked one of the guys in the ring. Ran, punched the other guy off the apron, hit the Uranagi. Like he was just doing it perfectly. Like he had practiced this like 100 times. Like his flurry there, but it was awesome. And then the senton, and then backing up in the corner, and the spider walk, and then he went for the Sister Abigail. It got countered. Alberto ends up hitting a backstabber off the distraction from Rusev. I thought it was over. Bray kicks out. And then all of a sudden the lights go out, and then they come back on. And then Eric Rowan and Braun Strowman are out there, and they take out Rusev. And then Alberto runs back in the ring away from him, right into Sister Abigail. 1, 2, 3. Bray Wyatt picks up the pin. And there was this really cool camera angle at the end where Bray is pinning him. And then all of a sudden you just see Roman Reigns diving over Bray with the spear on Sheamus. Which I fucking hate Roman Reigns, but that looked cool as shit. So there was that. And they had a face-off between Bray Wyatt and Roman Reigns. So one last thing to add before I end this. This is still 23 minutes. I honestly think after the feud between the Wyatts and the League, I think they're going to have Bray Wyatt pin Sheamus to give him a little bit of credibility. And then I honestly think after Roman defeats AJ Styles, his next opponent is going to be Bray Wyatt. And I hope to hell somehow that Bray Wyatt can defeat Roman Reigns. Somehow Bray Wyatt needs to defeat him. I want to see Bray as champion. I think that'd be really cool. But it probably won't happen, but that's the last thought. Bray Wyatt for champion.